I hereby call this meeting to order, and thank you for being seated. And I'm here to welcome Senator Yeck from the state of Oklahoma, Mike Patterson, former secretary, of course, and Paul Zachary, city of Tulsa. Where's Paul? Back there where he always sits. And I know Bobby's here, AOGC. So thank you. Welcome, guests. Commission Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Studeville?
Studeville here.
Shannon?
Here.
Mr. Freimiller?
Freimiller here.
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson here.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander here.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge here.
Mr. Junk?
Here.
Mr. Peterson?
Here. Director Gatz, you're recognized to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. It is a great honor for me this morning to, number one, I want to recognize and thank Commissioner James Grimsley for his service to the Transportation Commission and the department. He was a great commissioner, certainly was a intellectual sounding board for us on a lot of things, especially in the realm of advanced mobility. And we are very appreciative of his contributions during his tenure on the commission. Also want to formally recognize and welcome Commissioner Studeville. Commissioner, I'm gonna read from your bio a little bit just so we get that kind of into the record, so bear with me. He was appointed as District 2 Commissioner by Speaker of the House of Representatives Charles McCall in October. Represents the 9 counties of southeastern Oklahoma. Anthony E. Kelly is the district engineer for District 2, obviously. He's been in the automotive business for more than 24 years, currently the owner and founder of Studeville Automotive Group, which spans locations all across the eastern half of Oklahoma. No stranger to state government, and certainly lending his service as chairman and commissioner of the Oklahoma New Motor Vehicle Commission. He's a member and past chairman of the Oklahoma Auto Dealers Association, past chairman as the Oklahoma Auto Dealers Self-Insurance Association, currently serves as General Motors National Minority Dealer Advisory Council, and is currently president of the Texoma Chevy Dealer Group, vice chairman of the Oklahoma Ford Advertising Fund, and is president of West Durant Merchants Association. Born and raised in Durant, and a member of the Choctaw Nation, and a graduate of Durant High School, Southeastern Oklahoma State University, and University of Oklahoma. So, Commissioner, we are so glad to have you on the team. I want to welcome you to your first formal commission meeting, and very, very appreciative of your willingness to serve. So. Mr. Chairman, at this time, if I could, I would like to recognize Larry Patrick, Executive Director of the Oklahoma Asphalt Pavement Association, for the announcement of an award. So, Larry.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. How are you all doing?
We're great.
Great. It's good to hear. I am very privileged this morning, very honored to be able to present a national award to ODOT. And so before I get what kind of where this is coming from, the Asphalt Pavement Alliance is made up of the National Asphalt Pavement Association, the State Asphalt Pavement Association, and Asphalt Institute. They have always had for many years a perpetual pavement award. They've actually broke it up into 3 categories: by performance, by conversion, and by design. So far, Oklahoma, up to today, has received 6 of these awards. I'm going to announce number 7. I'd like to announce that the 2023 Perpetual Pavement Award by Design is District 3 for I-40 in Ofussee County near Okemah, Oklahoma. I would like to congratulate District 3, Ron Brown and his staff, Wendy Ross, who is the resident engineer at Wewoka, and her staff, along with Haskell Lumen Group, for a job well done. Just give them congratulations. Mr. Chairman, if I could, I would love to be, we got some nice hardware for everybody that's going to be here. Can we have them come up here and we can take a picture with all of them?
Of course, please.
Commissioner Shannon, would you come up here with us, please? Mr. Chairman, would you?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to pass this down so all of you can see what winning looks like down there, too.
That was very good. That really is something.
And humility, too.
I guess the statewide commissioner gets to enjoy this victory as well.
Absolutely.
That's right. Very good. Thank you. All right. And let the record reflect that Commissioner LaForge is inadequately dressed for this morning. All right, thank you. Item 145 is continuation of approval of the minutes of the Transportation Commission meeting on September 9th. Do I have a motion for approval of item 145?
Kilburn, so moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Dyson.
Any discussion? Please cast your vote. So motion passes with a number of abstentions. Thank you. Item 146 is approval of the minutes of the Transportation Commission meeting on October 7th. Do I have a motion for approval of item 146?
Kilburn again, move for approval.
Thank you. And a second?
Primary, seconds.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Thank you. Motion passes. Consent docket. We okay, Sarah? Do I need to mention the abstentions?
I think I got that one backwards, Mr. Chairman. That was on my part. I should have abstained from that
You should
last
have.
vote.
Yes.
My apologies.
Okay.
The record may reflect that.
Right. Okay, very good. Consent docket contains items 147 through 149. If any commissioner would like to pull an individual item out for discussion, he may do so at this time. Otherwise, I'll hear a motion for approval of the consent docket.
Motion, Dyson.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, LaForge.
Thank you very much. Please cast your vote. And the motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 150 is engineering contracts. Mr. Hernandez, you are recognized to present.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 150 is engineering contracts. I have 4 parts total, 2 statewide and 2 project-specific. Part A is all district statewide on-demand environmental studies. The department has selected 8 firms to provide these services. The firms may be utilized on an as-needed basis in support of the department's staff, and they are C.H. Guernsey and Company, CC Environmental, CP&Y Incorporated, doing business as infrastructure, Friesen Nichols Incorporated, Garver LLC, Hudson Prince Engineering and Inspection PLLC, Integrated Environmental Solutions LLC, and Olson Incorporated. The aggregate not to exceed amount is $1,600,000. Part B is also statewide. This is for on-demand national electric vehicle infrastructure grant management. The department has selected 2 firms to provide these services, and they may be utilized on an as-needed basis in support of the department's staff. They are H&TB Corporation and Jacobs Engineering Group Incorporated. The aggregate not to exceed amount for these contracts is $1 million. Part C is project specific. That's District 2, McCurtain County, US 259. The proposed project improvements are to replace bridge on existing alignment, add capacity to roadway, add sidewalks, and traffic control devices. The department has selected Friesen Nichols Incorporated to provide these services, and the contract value is not to exceed $2 million. This project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2029. And finally, Part D. This is District 6, Woods County, Winoka City Bridge over Dog Creek. The proposed project improvement is to replace the bridge on existing alignment. The department has selected C.H. Guernsey and Company to provide these services, and their contract value is not to exceed $333,899. The project was included in the Bridge Formula Program approved at the November 6, 2023 Commission meeting. And I will try to answer any questions you might have on these contracts. Approval is recommended.
Yep. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 150?
LaForge move for approval.
Second.
Okay, second, Commissioner Shannon. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 151 is engineering contract supplements. Mr. Hernandez, you're recognized to continue.
Okay, for supplements, I have 4 parts as well, 2 statewide, 2 project specific. Part A is statewide on-demand, on-system bridge inspections. This is the second supplement. Previously, the department has selected 4 consulting firms to provide these services. They are Burgess & Nyepel Incorporated, CEC Corporation, Consor Engineers LLC, and Garver LLC. The total aggregate increase for these contract supplements is $400,000. Part B is also statewide, on-demand environmental services for local government projects. This is the first supplement. The department has previously selected 9 consulting firms to provide these services. They are C.H. Guernsey and Company, CC Environmental LLC, CP&Y doing business as STV Infrastructure, Friesen Nichols Incorporated, Garver LLC, Hudson Prince Engineering and Inspection PLLC, Kleinfelder Incorporated, Olson Incorporated, and Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated. The total aggregate increase for these contract supplements is $2,400,000. Part C is location specific. It's in District 2, Atoka County, US 69. The proposed project improvements are to reconstruct, rehabilitate existing facility. This is the first supplement. The department has previously selected H&TB Corporation to provide these services, and the supplement value is not to exceed $92,000. This project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2027. And finally, Part D. This is in District 8, Mays County, US 69. The proposed project improvements are to reconstruct, rehabilitate the existing facility. This is the first supplement. The department has previously selected Smith Roberts Balchweiler to provide these services. The supplement value is not to exceed $30,000. This project is also included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2026. Your approval of the engineering supplements is recommended, and I'll stand for any questions you might have.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 151?
LaForge move for approval.
Thank you. In a second.
Coburn, second.
Coburn, thank you. And any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Item 152 is change orders with a cumulative total of $150,000 or less. This is for information only. Mr. Leonard, you're recognized to present.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to present item number 152, parts A through double M. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders of $150,000 or less. This item is presented for information only, and no action is necessary. but I'd certainly be glad to answer any questions.
If there are no questions, Mr. Leonard, you're recognized to present item 153, change orders with a cumulative total greater than 150,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, item number 153, parts A through V. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders greater than $150,000. Your approval is recommended, and I'd be more than glad to answer any questions.
All right, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 153?
So move.
Thank you. In a second.
Second, Coburn.
Thank you, Commissioner Coburn. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Leonard. Item 154 is a claim for additional payment. Mr. Davis, you are recognized to present.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 154 is a claim for additional payment. This is Oklahoma Bridge Company, OBC Incorporated. This is for a project in District 4 up in K County. It is I-35 over US 60. This bridge replacement contract was awarded by the Oklahoma Transportation Commission on December 6, 2021 to OBC Incorporated for a total contract amount of $9,693,648.80. Contract time was 420 calendar days. In the previous change order, number 5, the contractor requested additional compensation to cover cost due to a change in site conditions as the result of encountering unknown existing concrete piles under pier number 2 that had to be removed, and additional cost of the unexpected additional length of drill shafts on both bridges A and B that could not be equitably recovered by simply overrunning the planned quantity at the established unit cost. Change order number 5 accounted for approximately 73% of the total cost of these changes before statutory limits were reached. In addition, there were 4 light poles planned to be removed and reinstalled to facilitate construction of the 2 bridges. These were indicated on the plans, but associated pay items were not included in the contract. In order to properly compensate the contractor for these additional costs, which have been reviewed by the department, a claim has been filed for the balance of $324,439.51. The entitlement for this claim is recognized by the department, and approval is recommended. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 154?
Affirmative motions.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Dyson.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Item 155 is Industrial Access Program. Ms. Wheeler, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman,
Morning.
members of the commission. Item 155 is 2 additions to the Industrial Access Road Program. Part A, in District 3, Okfuskee County. The Okfuskee County Commissioners are requesting approval for an industrial access project for Platinum Cross Welding. Platinum Cross Welding is a manufacturing facility providing design and fabrication primarily for oil and gas industry clients. A new facility was completed in May of 2024, and approximately 35 positions have been added to date, with more anticipated. The project begins at the intersection of Highway 27 and 1130 Road and extends east for approximately 2.5 miles past North 3790 Road and ends at the entrance of the facility. The total cost of this project is $462,500. To date, Okfuskee County has invested approximately $95,000 in this project. The Oklahoma Department of Commerce has approved funding in the amount of $183,750 for this project. The county will be responsible for initiation, construction, and completion of all work associated with the project. The department's participation in the project will be $183,750. Part B, also in District 3, Lincoln County. The Lincoln County Commissioners are requesting approval for an industrial access project for Genesis Enterprises. Genesis is home to a variety of operations that contribute significantly to the local and state economy. Genesis has invested approximately $16 million in land and facility development and has approximately 200 full-time employees. Early next year, Genesis is expanding its facility by adding a modern meat processing plant with the capacity to process 1,000 heads of cattle per year. This is an investment of approximately $2.2 million and will create 35 new jobs. The project begins at the intersection of 3520 Road and East 920 Road and extends south approximately 2.5 miles to East 940 Road. The total cost of this project is approximately $2.1 million. To date, Genesis has invested approximately $355,000, and Lincoln County has invested approximately $175,000 towards the project. The county will be responsible for initiation, construction, and completion of all work associated with the project. The department's participation in the project will be $1.5 million. Approval is recommended. I'll be happy to answer questions.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 155?
So moved, Coburn.
Second, Junk.
Okay, thank you. And any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Ms. Wheeler. Item 156 is fiscal year 2025 budget revisions. Ms. Hilmes, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Agenda item 156 is for the FY 2025 budget revision and has 5 parts. Part A is a request to increase the highway program using fourth quarter redistribution and carryover funds. Subpart 1 is for federal funds in the highway construction program, $253,241,998. State funds, the second subpart, is for $246,091,131. Part B is to request an increase in the highway maintenance program using state carryover funds in the amount of $10,177,733. And Part C is to rebudget the right-of-way program for $90 million and consists of both federal and state funds. And Part D is to request the Lake and Industrial Access Program for $9,105,000 with state funds. And Part E is a request to increase the county program utilizing state carryover funds in the amount of $2,160,472. The department requests and recommends approval of this item.
So, not being on your subcommittee and tormenting you about what all this means, where'd this money come from?
So each one of them, the federal program consists of the fourth quarter redistribution was about approximately $119 million. And then the balance is everything that was available at July 1st that was available for the recording of obligations, as you may recall, that we reserved budget for the capital program in addition to, in advance of the advertisement of the program. And then when the obligation comes in subsequent to the award, the obligation is recorded. And so this budget authority allows us to record those obligations. And as you can recall, that the capital program lines up with the federal fiscal year, and a majority of these funds are in that area.
And the retro funds, remind me.
That is the Rural Economic Reliability and Optimization Fund, and that was for communities where rural economic development expanded and the legislature passed those funds. That's the first year that we received $200 million, and then 2025 is the second year that is in the current budget.
Right.
So this is what was not recorded at June 30th, July 1, and rebudgeting so that we can record all those obligations subsequent to that time period.
So additional money from the state.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. All right, thank you
You're
very much. So, you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 156?
So moved.
That would be Commissioner Shannon. And a second?
Alexander, second.
Thank you, Commissioner Alexander. And any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 157 is proposed bid openings. Ms. Bryant, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Item 157, proposed bid openings, consist of the tentative January 2025 and the tentative February 2025 bid openings. The department recommends approval.
Motion approved.
Yeah, you've heard the presentation. A motion for approval is Commissioner Alexander. Do I have a second?
Second, Coburn.
And thank you. And any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Ms. Bryant. And 158 is awards. Mr. Goka, you're recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Agenda item 158 is the awards from the October 10th and 17th bid openings. It will be in two parts. Part A is from the October regular bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the October 10th bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. Call order 300, 301, 305, 310 with alternate number 2 only, 320, 325, 330, 335, 340, 345, 355, 360, and 365 with the base bid only. Part B, from the October 17th regular bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the October 17th bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. 405, 410, 420, 425, 435, 436, and 440. This concludes the recommendations and approval is requested.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 158?
Affirmative motion is approved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Dyson.
Second, Commissioner Dyson. Thank you. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Goka. Item 159 is the Director's Report. Director Gatz, you are recognized to present.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I want to start off this morning by certainly on behalf of all the Department of Transportation, extending our thoughts and prayers to all the folks that were storm impacted over this last weekend. Certainly we've had some challenging weather conditions that continue even into today. Also want to extend our appreciation to all of the ODOT men and women who during this type of inclement weather are out there on the front lines managing everything from down power lines and the traffic control that's necessitated there to debris removal and assistance. And also with the flooding conditions we've experienced, we've got a lot of folks manning those flooding conditions to make sure we keep the traveling public safe. So I want to recognize their efforts and the sacrifice that they make whenever they're away from their families during a weekend, and certainly extend our appreciation. We've got a video queued up this morning, I believe, that is of a what we call a superload. And again, this is a piece of equipment that is headed for Louisiana from Tulsa, manufactured in Tulsa, and in excess of 200,000 pounds. So you can see the type of a trailer and an axle configuration that's required to move a load like this. It takes a significant effort on the part of the shipper, certainly on the manufacturing company, but on the part of the folks that are transporting that load, to work with the Department of Transportation, the Highway Patrol, and everybody that's engaged and involved. And that affects uniquely the folks in our bridge area that have to evaluate our bridge infrastructure, make sure it can support that. The field districts participate in finding the right route to move that piece of equipment. And that involves everything from making sure we've got the proper vertical clearance to the turning radiuses. So significant effort to get that done. This is worth recognition that piece of equipment was made right here in Oklahoma. That's something that we ought to be proud of. We still make things here. And significant things. That, again, piece of equipment's on its way to Louisiana to be a part of a build-out of a refinery. And certainly we, as transportation managers, we've got to be able to accommodate that sector of the economy, and we've got to figure out how to get that equipment from point A to point B. And again, that takes a lot of effort, and just thought that would be of interest to the commission to see that kind of load and some of the things that we deal with on a fairly regular basis. Because again, Oklahoma is in the business of helping with those different types of activities, and we got to make sure we can keep everybody moving. So worth recognizing. Want to touch briefly, we are still under a continuing resolution in the federal aid program. That continuing resolution carries through December 20th. I call that to your attention primarily just to make sure everybody remembers that, because it will constrain our funding availability for the rest of the fiscal year until Congress comes back in and enacts a budget for the rest of the year. Hopefully, optimistically, we may see a full year. We could see another continuing resolution that would further constrain, for the next period of time. So not uncommon for us to go through this. Matter of fact, it's probably more common than not that we operate initially under a continuing resolution, but it's worth recognition and recognizing, because if it were to go on for very long, it could have an impact on our ability to let construction projects. I want to touch briefly on a transportation revenue interim study that was conducted. Representative Nicole Miller, the chair of our Transportation Appropriations and Budget Committee, was very gracious in entertaining the subject matter, and had a good interim study. We talked a lot about transportation resources. Still our primary revenue input into transportation investment on the highways is motor fuel tax. That comes to us in the State Transportation Fund. That also comes to us in the Roads Fund, and still is the most significant component of our budget. We know motor fuel tax has been flat based on collection records, and that extends really beyond even COVID. So if you turn the clock back, we had a dip during the COVID time period, but we have not seen an increase coming out of COVID. It just continues on that flat trend. We anticipate that over the coming years, even though vehicle miles traveled is continuing to go up, motor fuel taxes based purely on fuel efficiency, not on the impact of electric vehicles or anything like that. It's based on fuel efficiency. We're going to continue to see a flattening, and eventually we'll go into decline. So that is a concern that is, it's not urgent yet, but it is something we've got to talk about and seriously consider. One of the other large components of the department's investment revenue that hits in the roads fund primarily is income tax. And Oklahoma historically has a strong desire to keep as much tax burden as we can off our citizens. Income tax is always involved in that conversation. It's about awareness. We are not done investing in the transportation system. We've got to continue to explore the right way to fund transportation and start those discussions. So that's what that interim study was about. Very appreciative of again, Representative Miller and all the Appropriations Committee members. But it's worth recognizing that we are going to have a challenge, not just at the state level, but at the federal level going forward. And one of the conversations that's going on is around a road user charge. So a kind of a miles traveled form of revenue generation. And there's a lot of negativity around it because of the tracking aspects. And certainly we recognize the concerns of Oklahoma citizens in particular. That's something we've got to make sure that if the legislature ever is ready to take a hard look at that as a potential revenue stream, it's going to have a lot of guardrails and bumpers put around it so everybody understands how that's going to happen. As you move into that realm, cost of collection for that type of a system is always a paramount concern. In general, it's not about road user charge. It is about what does transportation resource look like for the future, because we are not going to run out of need out on the system. If you consider that we've got in excess of a $30 billion backlog of need out there on the transportation system right now, and an 8-year work plan with a value of about $8.6 billion, we're not going to run out of places that we're going to need to invest. So again, great to start that conversation. It's going to be a long-term conversation, but it's something we can't ignore. And so again, thought it was a great interim study, but wanted to make the commission aware of that. We've got some projects coming up, State Highway 37, which is 4th Street and more. That's in Commissioner District 3, Commissioner Shannon, and it's a project that is a mile east of the I-35 interchange. That's a grade separation, so right now it's an at-grade intersection, and we're going to change that, so 37/4th Street will go under. The railroad track will go over. It'll look very similar to the Robinson Street intersection there, grade separation in Norman. And looking forward to getting started on that. It's going to improve traffic safety and certainly the circulation patterns there in the more proper. About a $30 million contract. It's worth recognizing that $10 million of that came in the form of a RAISE grant, so discretionary, and it also had congressional dollars put on it to the tune of $5 million. So a lot of different colors of revenue, a lot of different partners in that project, and we're excited to get it started coming up here in January of 2025, and look forward to completing it sometime in the summer of 2026. US 270 in Shawnee, that's in District 3, 2 miles south of I-40 and extending southeast, and that again is going to impact folks in town there in Shawnee. Work includes pavement rehab, intersection and safety improvements, and interchange ramp improvements at the Kickapoo Spur interchange, and about a $26 million contract, and we expect that work to begin also in January of 2025 and complete about February of 2026. Project up in the Panhandle, where I've been advised we're getting a little winter weather, so not just having thunderstorms here in the central proper of the state, but we've got a little frozen precipitation, Commissioner Alexander, out in the Panhandle, so which is not unusual for November. Highway 183 connecting Buffalo down to the Northwest Passage. Got an $11 million shouldering project on 183 there in Harper County. It is really the third of a 4-phase work that's putting safety shoulders between Fort Supply and Buffalo. 4-mile project to the north side, and first phase, or the most recent phase of this, started earlier this year. We expect to complete in 2025. And again, that's a really good example of us putting shoulders on a rural 2-lane highway in the interest of safety of the traveling public. That's a well-traveled route in the region, and good to get that one started. Also want to offer a project update on US 62 over the Arkansas River in Muskogee in District 1. That's obviously over the McClellan-Kerr Arkansas River navigation system. Very large bridge structure to the tune of $74 million. And started in fall of 2022. We've had some challenges on that project, including weather and some high winds. Fortunately, the westbound bridge has the deck now fully poured and is nearing completion. They're pouring bridge rail out there as we speak. And, work has already started in the water below the eastbound bridge, so we've started activities necessary that are going to be needed to put the second phase of that in the air. But we want to make everybody aware that switch of traffic. So we're going to move folks from the old bridge over to the new bridge probably right around the end of this year, so sometime right around Christmas. Want to certainly make drivers aware that they need to be attentive to that, because that's a significant traffic control exercise in the Muskogee area. So our expectation of overall completion is by the end of 2025 now, and that accounts for, again, some of the challenges that we've experienced on that project. Want to talk for just a second about Oklahoma Mobility Week, which is November 3rd through the 9th. A new awareness campaign from ODOT Multimodal and our mobility management program partners started this year to build awareness around and help showcase the transportation resources that are available out there in the transit arena and transit area. We realize that not everyone has a car, And not everyone is actually aware of the public transit resources that we offer around the state. Mobility management is an effort that we've started recently to help coordinate and raise awareness, make sure that somebody traveling point A to point B that might cross several of those rural transit operations, as far as medical rides and things like that, it's all an effort and an exercise in coordination. But we want to make sure everyone's aware that those opportunities exist and ensure that information about transportation in Oklahoma and the opportunities that are there are available to everyone. So part of our new campaign. From a safety standpoint, it is our anniversary of Work Zone Safe, and want to pause for a second. I know we've got Tom Robbins here, and Friday, November 1 marked the 1-year anniversary since Work Zone Safe became a requirement for teen drivers in Oklahoma looking to get their license. The program is designed to teach new drivers about work zone safety, first responder safety, and to educate drivers on how their actions can impact them and other drivers and our coworkers out on the highways forever. Since rolling out the Work Zone Safe, we've had more than 63,000 students, teens, that have participated in that course. Oklahoma was the first state in the nation to require the program. Now Wisconsin requires it. Several more states are in the early stages of implementing a very similar program. And again, I want to recognize Senator Yeck for his engagement and involvement, along with Ronnie Johns, Transportation Chair on the House of Representatives, and appreciate them for carrying some really good legislation to help us get this implemented. And I'd also, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, certainly want to invite Tom Robbins to the podium to make a few comments on and offer his perspective. So,
Of course, please.
Chairman, Commissioners, as we come in every month to this meeting, our eye often catches the monument that's out front, honoring and placing a name for each of the fallen workers of the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. I like to remind different folks that I talk to, it's not normal that we have to do that as an industry. Some of the largest employers across our country don't have to build monuments all because somebody went out and did their job, kissed their wife, gave their kiddo or their grandkid a hug, or saw their last ball game, and all because they were doing a job to construct, maintain, or to build infrastructure around our state, never got to come home. We're also facing a pandemic of, not just in Oklahoma, but across the country, of the highest numbers we've ever seen, of record number of injuries, serious injuries and fatalities, a lot related to kind of the lead foot that developed post-COVID, mixed in with what I refer to as digitally drunk drivers, or taking our devices into our cars. And then the significant amount of road work, and our first responders and those that are responding unfortunately become impacted. Every single state across the country, basically since Fred Flintstone got a driver's license, has relied on about 1 or 2 questions on the driver's test. Thankfully, working with Director Gatz and formerly Mike Patterson and others, and our chief engineer here, we decided to design a new program with 2 core elements. Number 1, voluntarily giving our students an opportunity across the state to be able to go through a mobile work zone, to give them a hands-on opportunity to be able to understand and to be able to see the face behind the flag. In doing so, since we've done that in well over 20,000 students have gone through that program. Number 2, and this takes really, legislative courage to be able to go in and change something that's been, I would say, dormant for so long, is working with Senator Yeck and with Representative Ronnie Johns, who carried our bill, is to become the first state in the country to say we need to do better, we need to modernize our education, and no longer is it going to cut it with this crisis to be able to just have a kid say, well, an orange sign is a work zone sign. So in designing a course that ODOT has approved, these students now learn across the state of Oklahoma before they get their intermediate driver's license about speeding, distractions, seatbelts, signs, and most importantly, they fulfill the mission of Work Zone Safe, is to make sure that they know that there is a face and family behind every flag, cone, and flashing light. The most great thing about this generation of new drivers is that they're empathetic. They care about causes. They care about and instilling in them that there's an actual face and family, and that they can get a little bit out of their head, as we say, eyes up, phone down, buckle up, slow down. we get that message to them and literally give them the names of people who are on that memorial and ask them to join us in being Work Zone Safe. We partner that with many of the supporters and sponsors that are here today who provide scholarships, and so we give out a monthly $500 scholarship in recognition and a reward of teens for being Work Zone Safe. We're entering in our third year where we'll do a Work Zone Safe Take Center Court, where we'll bring along some of these teens who will win tickets to a Thunder game and be able to spend that evening with the faces behind the flag that are working on our wrecks, our first responders, our construction workers, and our contractors. Additionally, Mr. Gatz has asked that we provide some of our train crossing information, so we've done that with Oklahoma Lifesaver, which is important. And as we saw, unfortunately, in Tishomingo, where in just one instance in one afternoon, 6 young women lost their lives in a horrific crash. We will be introducing, and we'll have ready to go in January 1, some additional information in a section that focuses on impaired driving, specifically not just around DUI, but some of the things that we're seeing around our marijuana use around the state. So as the director mentioned, Wisconsin has now passed a similar law and has a similar program. South Carolina has launched a program. North Carolina is introducing legislation. Illinois is introducing legislation. Missouri has asked for us to be able to assist them in doing this program. Kansas wants to come down and do the hands-on deal. Washington State wants to launch January 1 with a voluntary program. So little old Oklahoma has set the tone and has literally set the standard for work zone and move over safety for teens across the country. So just want to thank the director for the opportunity to do that. Thank our legislative friends for being courageous and sponsoring that. And of course, thanking the DOT employees, the Turnpike employees, and the contractors who both support it, give of their time and effort, and whether they're engaged because they're voluntold, but eventually they love it, they come alongside with us and make sure that we know that everybody has an understanding that there's a face and family behind every flag, cone, and flashing light. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
I don't think I understand. Can you, and you've said it, but how do you access the curriculum? How do students access the curriculum? Is it online or
Yep.
is it part of their curriculum that they're already doing?
Yeah, so it's online. In fact, my oldest son just turned 16.
I have a
Shannon.
15-year-old, so I'm leaning into
So,
this very closely.
in his PJs while eating a midnight snack of ramen, I peeked over his shoulder as he was on his phone, because it can be on any device, as he took Work Zone Safe. So you go to workzonesafe.com, you click on the Oklahoma course. Right now, you also see an opportunity to take the Wisconsin course, the national course. Our Oklahoma kiddos, just click on enroll in that. As they do so, it's an online course that they're able to be guided through, see different videos that ODOT, highway safety, and different people have. And as they advance through the curriculum, eventually, when they complete that, they'll be awarded a certificate. They very simply take that certificate with them, Commissioner, to Service Oklahoma when they get their intermediate driver's license, submitting that with their paperwork, and that is accepted as taking the ODOT-approved course. And then if they so choose, it's voluntary. They don't have to by means of taking the course. They can choose to be entered to win a $500 scholarship or to get some Thunder tickets and those things as well.
And how many of those did you say we give out?
Scholarships?
Mm-hmm.
We give out now 2 every single month.
Okay.
And we've given out over 20,000, and that's thanks to the great sponsors and just collaborators that we have here. And so, yeah, it's a really unique opportunity where we recognize and reward students and thank them for understanding and taking the time to do
And
that.
last question for me. You said something, a heads up, phones down.
All right,
Can
so
you say
this
that
is
again?
going to go viral. So like with the kids, and we get them all funny with it, we say, okay, eyes up, phone down, buckle up, slow down, and make them do like a little dance. you
All
know?
right,
So
all right.
my kids are horrified.
Does the director know the dance? Has he been
Well,
briefed on
eyes
that?
up, phone down, buckle up, slow down. But the kids love it. And I'll tell you, nobody becomes a DOT employee in the field because they want to become a public speaker. But by the end of doing one of our things, you have to put duct tape over them because they're so excited to engage and tell their story about how they got into the industry, their close calls, which unfortunately they've witnessed or experienced too many, and they're excited to be able to share that. So it's neat to be able to see that be a model and grow across the country. But it all started here in Oklahoma because of the vision that the director had and the leadership support that we received from industry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please never do that again.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's impressive. That is.
And we'll
very
take a photo, I think, after the meeting or whenever with everyone. Thank you.
I'm familiar with the concept, Commissioner. Yes. You know, Tom's enthusiasm for the program is evident. We're very lucky to have him as a partner on it, and like I said, I am very appreciative of the effort that's gone into standing our program up. And again, I cannot thank the legislature, Senator Yeck and Representative Johns enough. This is targeting our most vulnerable drivers, our youngest brand new drivers, and just to give them a little bit of an idea of what they're going to encounter, because they will. They're going to encounter a construction work zone, and conditions in a work zone are dramatically different than they are on a clear, dry, open highway. So again, I've been a program that we're very proud of. So.
Oh, thank you.
Staying in that kind of the same traffic safety thought process, we're in the holidays. It's hard to believe that Thanksgiving, we're in November now, so we've got the holiday season ahead of us. I want to remind everybody to be careful out there. Some of the highest traffic volume days that we're going to see are ahead of us during the holiday season. Buckle up, slow down, eyes up, phones down. And, a lot of folks enjoy some merriment around the holiday season. Drive sober. We want everybody to make sure they're designating a driver. Plan ahead for holidays. Make sure that we're being particularly mindful. From 2018 to 2022, there were 479 drivers involved in fatal traffic crashes on Thanksgiving Eve. 30% of the drivers involved were under the influence. So again, we want everybody to be particularly cautious and careful out there on the highways and our city streets and county roads. We also want everybody to buckle up, especially during the holiday season, every day, all the time. But if you don't commonly get in your vehicle and buckle your seatbelt, maybe we can start right here in the holiday season and let that carry through for the rest of your time as a driver. We've got a responsibility to ourselves to protect ourselves, and the first line of protection that you can provide is just buckle your seatbelt and put away distractions, pay attention. We've got to remember that, and during the Thanksgiving holiday weekend nationwide in 2022, there were 326 passenger vehicle occupants killed in traffic crashes, and 43% of that number were unrestrained. You've heard me say this before, you're about half as likely to be severely injured or die in a traffic crash if you're not wearing a seatbelt. So think about what we can do to our fatality numbers if we can just get everybody to buckle up. So as always, appreciate the support of the Transportation Commission in everything that we do, and especially in traffic safety. And Mr. Chairman, I would stand for any questions that the commission might have of me this morning.
Commissioners, any comments, questions?
I just can't help but say how impressed I am with that program with the teenagers, the young teenagers and stuff, and the enthusiasm that you show, both of you, towards it. I think I've got a granddaughter that's fixing to be getting her driver's license. I'm going to make sure she does that, or try my best to make sure. And thank you very much.
Good. Thank you, Director Katz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
If commissioners have no other comments, I'd hear a motion for item 160, which is adjournment.
So move.
Commissioner Shannon, thank you. In a second.
Second, Dyson.
Thank you, Commissioner Dyson. Please cast your vote. We are adjourned. Motion passes.